Hello and welcome to Stef Talks Trash. I'm your host, Stefanie Valentic, Editorial Director of Waste 360. Today I'm talking trash with recycling and waste diversion company Athens Services. Athens Services has been serving the greater Los Angeles community for more than 60 years. The company does not own any landfills. In fact, it partners with local communities, with private institutions, and with governments to achieve their zero waste goals. Let's hear more from Athens Services.
So I want to thank you all for joining me today for Stef Talks Trash. I'm looking forward to learning more about Athens Services, your sustainability efforts, and your partnerships that are helping kind of advance the waste systems in your area. So first, if you would please each just introduce yourself, just name and title, so that all of our viewers can kind of get an idea of who is speaking.
My name is Riel Johnson. I'm the Senior Director of Resource Recovery at Athens Services.
Keng, Baloco, Commodity Sales and Logistics.
Cristian, Herrera, Director of Marketing and Communications.
All right, thank you so much. Just so we can start out here, can you please give me a little bit background on Athens Services and how the company has evolved since its founding in 1957?
I'll take that one. So yeah, just like you mentioned it, Athens Services started in 1957 in the garbage disposal district of Los Angeles called Athens. That's how we got our name back in 1957 with one collection truck. Ever since then, we've really prided ourselves on delivering exceptional service by hiring and developing great people like Riel and Keng, and really trying to foster a safe, healthy, and sustainable environment in all of the communities that we service. Today, we are partners with over 40 communities in Southern California. We offer waste collection, recycling, organics processing, street sweeping, industrial roll-off, and compactor services. And the services go on and on and on and on. Primarily, we're really just focused in Los Angeles County, but most recently, we're branching out into Thousand Oaks, Ventura County, and Santa Ana, Orange County, where I'm at today. But we're 1,700 employees strong, over 1,000 trucks, mostly powered by CNG fuel, and we're all really proud of our Athens way culture here.
Great. So, we'll talk a little bit more about Thousand Oaks in a little bit here, but there's been a lot of chatter around the recycling industry. A lot of people have said it's broken, but it really is evolving, and just different haulers, different businesses, they're all getting in and they're kind of evolving their infrastructure and their MRFs to kind of handle the different types of materials and packaging that are coming through. So how has the shifting recycling industry affected your business?
So I'll start with some of the policies and things that have had an impact on change. So we've definitely had to make a lot of adjustments, and we knew that things were going to change starting in 2013 when China enacted the Green Fence initiative. So we knew that things had to change, and we definitely needed to diversify our outlets for a lot of our commodities. So we looked for other outlets. We looked for ways on how to improve our quality so that in turn, we can kind of diversify some of these markets. I'll give you an example. At one point, we were making 3 to 7s, which we were shipping to China. And when a lot of these recyclables were banned, we kind of shifted our focus to further sorting out a lot of the commodities that could be sorted and sold individually, such as PP number 5. We also currently shifted our focus to potential outlets such as energy and fuel for a lot of our plastic scrap. And when in 2018, China completely banned the imports, we weren't completely caught off guard on that. And I'll let Riel take the lead on, some of the things that we've done as far as equipment and innovations to kind of focus on our quality control.
We've implemented optical sorters, artificial intelligence, robotics in certain places. I know we'll talk about PET and various markets for PET. The PP5, which was difficult to sort by hand, is now optically sorted and has a very robust market behind it. And then, as Keng mentioned, we're digging deeper into fuels and other alternative uses for these quote, high BTU type of materials that have a more sustainable marketplace.
You recently entered into a partnership with DirectPack. How do these types of cooperative agreements create more circular business models for items such as post-consumer PET, food packaging, and other materials?
So our relationship with DirectPack has been a win-win for both companies. Recycling PET clamshells has definitely increased our diversion volume for a commodity that basically would have been overlooked if we otherwise didn't have an outlet for it.
Yeah, back in the day, these clamshells were kind of, quote, lost in the mixed plastic category, but we used to be able to sell mixed plastics. And as that market started to deteriorate, finding places for these clamshells has been a great win for us. And optically being able to sort the PET, and then further sort them apart from the bottles, it's just been a great outlet for that commodity.
So how does this kind of feed back into Athens' sustainability goals?
So Athens doesn't own any landfills, so we don't make any profit from sending commodity or things that could be recycled into the landfill. Our main objective is to recycle as much as we can. So we definitely try to maximize our recycling efforts, and we're constantly in the search for markets for commodities that would otherwise be landfilled.
In addition to that, we like to be a waste consultant to our customers. So as we sit down with large venues, they ask us, what kind of containers should we use? What's recoverable? What's recyclable? So we'll consult with them and encourage them to use containers like PET clamshells that we can have a circular account with, and not to use other difficult to recycle plastics. And so that in itself helps close the loop by being more educational on the front end as well as the back end of the system.
Yeah, and if I can add one more, Riel made a great point that we partner with some of our venues. We also pride ourselves on being a community partner in the sense that, we're leading the charge in the majority of the cities, if not all the cities that we operate in, as far as outreach and education, to really get to the source and make sure people understand what happens with their recyclables when they're not sorted out, and how to properly sort out their recyclables before it even hits the container. So through effective outreach and education, putting resources on our website, putting boots on the ground in the communities, and really getting to some of those places like schools, like community centers, like associations, multifamily dwelling properties, and educating them on proper way to recycle, reduce, and reuse material has really been effective in our approach to helping folks understand that the recycling world isn't broken. It just needs further focus.
Going along with that, you're working with a lot of different partners, you're expanding into new areas. Let's go ahead and talk about Thousand Oaks a little bit more and about the new sustainability center. How did that come about? How are you working to educate residents with that? And kind of give me a feel for kind of what it looks like and what the goal of it is.
Well, I'll give you a quick shameless plug. Go to our YouTube channel and you'll be able to see our sustainability center. You'll have a virtual tour of the facility. It's a great little center right on Thousand Oaks Boulevard in Ventura County. It's the first of its kind out there in that area. And essentially, it's part of our outreach and education strategy in this new community that we're going to launch services effective January 1st of 2022. We thought it was a great idea and part of our strategy to engage the community well ahead of our new services starting, because I'll give you an example. In that community today, they don't have an organics program. So we need to start from scratch with this community and educating them on what happens to organic waste when it hits the landfill. Especially in California with all the new mandates like SB 1383, we need to make sure that folks understand that green waste, food scraps need to be sorted out into a green container so that we can compost it in our American Organics facility. So that's been part of our strategy. We're not only educating and conducting outreach, but we're welcoming our community into our building and holding training classes in our sustainability center to educate them hands-on on how to separate not just recyclables, but also food waste and compostables. So we found it really successful out there in Ventura. We're having a lot of folks come in and just be wowed by what we've set up in that sustainability center. And we're hoping to replicate that same model here in Santa Ana in the near future.
That's fantastic. You know, a lot of people really are focusing on plastics right now, but food waste is such a huge component of that. You know,
Really
I was recently, you know, listening to my local city council committee meeting, and they were talking, you know, we currently don't have an organics program either. And they were saying, you know, a lot of our waste can be eliminated just by focusing on that part of it, you know, and eliminating the need for extra cans or extra bags of garbage that are just going right to the landfill and essentially causing a buildup of greenhouse gases.
And you're absolutely right. Right. We have our flagship recycling center, Sun Valley Material Recovery Facility in my background here. But our American Organics composting facility is just amazing to understand and to go out there and view the CASP system. I know I've invited you, Stefanie, to the Sun Valley MRF, but when you're out here, I'm also going to drag you out to Victorville in the middle of the desert so you can see our CASP system in action. Riel has developed an amazing system that cuts the composting process in almost a third. And just that's the type of infrastructure investments that we've made. Keng mentioned earlier that, and I'm not trying to hijack the meeting here, but I get excited about these things because Keng mentioned that we don't own a landfill, and that's absolutely true. We'd rather invest in recycling centers and in composting centers because that, in our mind, makes an impact here in what we're trying to do in reducing the amount of waste that goes to landfills, whether it's recyclables or green waste or compostables. So yeah, you come out here, we're going to drag you out there and check out our facilities.
Oh, absolutely. I look forward to it. It's just so interesting and refreshing to hear, you know, a company that's really focusing on that whole reduction part and making sure that it's working into every single one of their business goals as well. Do you have any other initiatives, partnerships, or projects you would like to discuss?
Well, from the post-collection side, we are developing another MRF right now that will have the absolute latest technology in it. Artificial intelligence, latest and greatest optical sorter screening technology. We're dealing with quite a few vendors right now and selecting that technology. So that'll be coming to a city near you, probably start construction later this year. So that's very exciting. And we're always looking for new outlets for materials and ways to recycle and divert, you know, whether it be, you know, we're exploring gasification, anaerobic digestion. There's some really great technology coming our way that we're excited to explore and find out which technology fits best into our network and into our portfolio. And yeah, some exciting times in this industry, that's for sure.
So why don't we talk a little bit more about technology? You know, you mentioned you're really excited about all these different things that are coming down the pipeline. Tell me a little bit about how artificial intelligence has particularly helped you.
Well, we have the very first robot that was being utilized for QC on PET bottles, and that's been running for quite a few years now and done a great job. We think that that's just the beginning. We think that it could be utilized for waste characterizations, for system controls, for further QC selections, robotics. I think artificial intelligence is just becoming a buzzword, and it's just going to be super exciting in ways we can implement it to make these systems just run much better.
You know, as we're wrapping up, where do you see the future of Athens Services and how it fits into this drive for sustainable business practices and, you know, and not even business, just, you know, a whole lifestyle change from, you know, down to the common consumer up to the corporation?
Listen, I'll tell you that on Riel's side and Keng's side, they're really focused on the post-collection side of things. In my world, we're looking really at the boots on the ground approach. Outreach and education is really where we're investing a lot of money on the marketing and communication side, because upfront is where it makes the biggest difference. Preventing contamination, preventing recyclables from going to landfills, preventing different commodities ending up buried in some hole out in the desert. That's what we're really focusing on strategically on the front side of things. Getting to schools, providing tools and resources. We're putting the finishing touches right now on a tool called What Goes Where, or canirecyclemy.com, where we will teach people how to recycle. I'll tell you one thing that we're on the cutting edge on that has been kind of on the forefront, even on the radar of Cal Recycle. So most recently, we've changed our hot stamp on our carts and incorporated a QR code that leads consumers, hopeful recyclers to our What Goes Where page, so that if there's any questions on where a certain plastic goes or certain type of material goes, they can literally scan the QR code and search for that type of material. And we're going to give them all sorts of great guidance on how to deal with that material. In a lot of cases, with certain types of products and materials, we'll advise them to go to a donation center or try to use it instead of just dumping it as a trash or as a bulky item pickup. So we're really trying hard to lead the charge on outreach and education in our communities, because again, I really believe, and I think as an organization, we believe that's where we have the most potential to make the biggest impact in the recycling world, by educating our consumers on how to properly recycle materials and hopefully reduce waste, period.
Thank you once again for joining me for this episode of Stef Talks Trash. For this and other episodes, please visit waste360.com.